When people ask, is the Bible we have today preserved? They're often hoping for a simple yes or no, but the real story is far more complex, stretching across thousands of years, dozens of cultures, and countless hands that copied, edited, and translated what eventually became the Bible. So who wrote the Bible? Well, it wasn't written by one person or all at once. It's a library of writings composed by many authors over many centuries. And here's a key point: many of these authors are unknown. Some biblical books are anonymous in the earliest manuscripts. Others had names attached to them later by tradition. And in some cases, scholars note that the people traditionally linked to certain books didn't live in the time periods when those books were actually written. This doesn't make the text meaningless. Far from it, but it does remind us that the origins of these writings are layered and complicated. Now, do we have the originals? One of the most important facts in studying the Bible, i.e. preservation, is this: we do not have any original manuscripts. Not for Genesis, not for the letters, not for any book. What we possess are copies of copies, often made centuries after the originals were first written. Even the earliest substantial manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible or the Greek New Testament come long after the events they describe. This means we can't directly compare what the first authors wrote with the versions we have today. We can only compare later copies to one another. So is the Bible preserved? Here's where the answer becomes less about certainty and more about perspective. Because we lack the originals, and because the surviving manuscripts differ from each other in ways both small and large, it is impossible to measure with perfect accuracy how closely today's Bible matches the earliest versions. There is simply no original text to compare against. Some passages were copied with great care. Others show signs of editing, additions, or modifications over time. So can we say the Bible is perfectly preserved? Historically speaking, we don't have the evidence to make that claim. What does this mean for readers today? Understanding how the Bible came to us doesn't require rejecting it or accepting it uncritically. Instead, it invites us to read it with awareness, recognizing its rich history, its diversity of voices, and the centuries-long journey that shaped its present form. For many, this makes the Bible even more fascinating. It shows how human hands, cultures, and communities interacted with these texts over time, preserving, adapting, and transmitting them into the versions we read today. So is the Bible preserved? Not in the sense of having pristine, unchanged originals, because those originals no longer exist, but it has been transmitted, copied, and interpreted across generations in ways that reflect a long and very human history. Exploring that history doesn't diminish the Bible as significance. It simply helps us understand where it came from, how it changed, and why it matters to so many people today. Thanks for watching.